Alright, let's have a look at the playground spline. We can create a new particle system here and set the source to spline. And a playground spline isn't exclusive for particle playground systems. You can use it with any other object you like to basically reposition transforms and stuff like that. Let's create a new spline here, and we will immediately be thrown into the playground spline settings. And a default spline is just a couple of nodes here, 2 nodes and 2 Bezier nodes as well. So you can start just kind of grab these within the scene to edit your spline. As you'll see in the inspector, you can loop. Actually, a default playground spline cannot be looped, as there are only 2 points here created, or 2 nodes. But once we create another, we will be able to loop. To create a new node here, we can hold down the control button and click on the node where we want to create another from. And now you see here that we can loop the effect. We can also reverse it in time. We won't see anything happen here, but once we start to create particles from this, if we were to create particles linearly over here, you would see that the effect is reversing. And we can offset the time here, where it initially starts from the first node, which is here. We could offset that to anywhere inside the spline, and we can position offset this from its transform. And the playground spline is actually working exactly as a transform inside the scene, where you can rotate it and you can scale it. So that's quite handy. And you'll also have this overview at all time of which node is selected here in the scene view, where you can edit the position, more like fine-tune it. And you also see this Bezier mode here. Right now it is set to aligned, which tells the Beziers here to align towards each other, but you can have different lengths of them. If we were to set mirrored, we will get them to mirror each other, or if we want to have them break loose from each other, we could set them from free. And there we got the particle system initializing on this. So you'll also see this node list here, where you can edit and fine-tune your nodes directly from the list. You'll also see this section called used by, where you can jump to your particle system immediately. Several particle systems can use one spline. And the advanced here tells you can fine-tune some parts of the playground spline from here. Velocity on new node means how far away a new node will be when you create it from the current in its direction. And the rest here, let's cover that in a bit. You'll see here in the node list that you can change the vector 3 to a transform. So we can use transforms instead of vector 3 values as well. And this enables you to basically reposition nodes at runtime without any scripting going on, or at least not a lot of scripting going on. So that comes in handy. And you can convert all these as well from vector 3 values to transforms, or convert all transforms here assigned to vector 3 values. And you can reverse all the nodes in the nodes list here. And of course create new ones from within. And let's say we want to export all these to transforms. We say convert all to transform. We get this nodes parent, and then we have all the created nodes and beziers here. Let's say we didn't want this structure. Let's say we wanted a more confined structure where every bezier was parented to the node as well. We can remove that, and we go back to vector 3 values, and we say that we want to export with node structure here. Let's convert all to transforms as well again. So here you'll see the node structure, and that you can just move the transform within the scene. So that basically covers the playground spline as a singular component. If we have a look at the particle system here, you see that it starts to create particle birth positions from the spline immediately, and we could amp up the particle count here. And currently the forces are saying that we should use the velocity on the spline direction. We could set initial local velocity to nothing there, or we could do it like this. Let's say we have 0 constant force, and we enable initial local velocity again, and we set everything here to 1 from minimum to maximum value. You'll see that the particles are starting to move along the spline. It isn't exactly moving along the spline, as you'll see here, for example, but it will use the initial direction from where the particle was birthed at the spline. So this can be used to sort of create this dynamic feel to it if you want to have velocity, or use the direction of the spline and use that as a velocity. And for instance, let's do a linear lifetime sorting. You'll see that it starts to create particles linearly over the spline. Let's press play there so we can see the effect going all the time. Let's say we want to reverse that. So now we'll go the opposite direction. And you can have several splines from a particle playground system. So let's create another. So now the same particle system is using this one, or one particle system is using 2 splines, and you can time offset this all the splines from the particle system, where the particles should get their initial birth position, where it starts inside the spline. And we can treat this as one spline. So it will move from the first spline to the second for all the created birth positions. And all of these settings opens up for quite advanced use of creating particles. You'll see some good examples in the example project, where the 2.2 version introduced splines. So that's basically all about splines. Or mostly. Let's have a look at the, for example, pumpkin data. Let's do this new scene. Oh, let's open that. Where we use a lot of splines from one particle system to just create these, this sort of weird effect. So just be creative with splines, and you don't have to use it for particles. Thanks for watching.